This morning, we got the news that I think a lot of people knew was coming, but a lot of people dreaded to have coming. And that is that Kurt Busch was announced to be sitting out of the playoffs, that he would not get his waiver, he would miss the start due to injury, and basically the effectiveness of his season would be over. And both Kurt Busch and 23XI gave word about this. Kurt Busch had announced, as much as I wanted and hoped to be able to get back in the number 45 car to make a playoff run with our team, it's still not the right time for me. In addition to not being cleared to return to racing, I know that I am not ready to be back in the car. I respect the sport of NASCAR, my fellow drivers, and the fans too much to take up a playoff spot if I know I can't compete for a championship this season. The decision was not an easy one, but I know it is the right thing to do. I will continue to take time to heal and strengthen as I prepare to be back in the car. And will do all I can to help 23XI continue the success we have had this season. 23XI also had an announcement too, where they said the health and well-being of Kurt Busch continues to be of the utmost importance. Ty Gibbs will keep filling in, and the number 45 team remains in the Owners' Championship. So I think there's a bit to unpack here. Obviously, like I said before, this is not a situation that any of us wish would have happened. And it's a situation that really is sad to see for a driver like Kurt Busch, who has went through so much in his career to get to this point where he's at now. But Kurt Busch is out of the playoffs. And I think it's a good move to do this now, because this answers the last question that needs to be answered before Daytona. It's not going to be something where we have a driver entering the playoffs after the field has been made up, like in 2013 with Jeff Gordon. It's not going to be where we have a controversy brewing up about the system because of that. It saves NASCAR in a lot of ways from Ryan Blaney or Martin Truex Jr. or both of them missing the playoffs. This ensures that the highest in points of either of them will make it. I think that this was the right move for Busch to do. I think a lot of people saw this coming, and a lot of people are asking the right questions, but the hard questions. But this means that Kurt Busch, at the minimum, will miss at least the start of the round of 16, and probably its entirety. The question now is, how is Kurt's health? Because this is something that's been going on for a long time since Pocono. This will be the 6th straight race at Daytona, and now the 7th race will be at Darlington. And if he misses the whole round, it'll mean he missed a quarter of the season. That is no small thing to look at, and it really makes me think that this injury is a lot worse than we first thought it was. And I think it opens up a lot of questions, and rightfully so, of the safety of the next-gen car, that a crash like that could take Kurt Busch out, whereas a lot of other drivers in the past wouldn't have been taken out with that unless they were prone to injury beforehand. But this also brings up one major question that I'm sure a lot of people don't want to ask, but it should be asked. Should Kurt Busch sit out the remainder of 2023? And in my opinion, as someone who has suffered from concussions multiple times in my life, as someone who knows the pain, knows how hard it is to get rid of them, and knows how debilitating it can be as a person, not as an athlete, as a person, yes, Kurt Busch should sit out the remainder of 2023. And it's both for his sake as well as for the sake of others around him. First off, his health. Kurt's concussion, like I said, is no joke. He has missed a large amount of time because of this injury, and it's indefinite on when he'll come back and how long this injury is going to be lasting for. We've said it a million times, and I think that I will say it again just to let everyone know, concussions are not a linear injury. It's not like you can see the progression by looking at an x-ray like you could a broken bone. This is a very volatile and nasty injury that some people never recover from. And I don't want to be too morbid with this, too pessimistic with it, but it has to be said in a real sense that Kurt Busch may never be the same driver again. He probably never will. At this age, this far in his career, with this substantial of an injury, he's not going to be the same driver this year for sure, and probably not going to be the same driver next year either. And missing more than 7 races at this point shows that this is something that is much bigger than on the track. But in the sense that a lot of fans are going to look at it, I think we should look at what happens on the track. This season is lost. There was no overarching plan, no overarching point to come back. Kurt Busch is effectively now eliminated from the championship. There is no reason for him to come back except to win races, but what's the point of trying to go for winning races when you're putting your health on the line? Who's going to celebrate it in the future if your brain is fried? At this point in Kurt's career, wins are nice, but going for a championship is probably the bigger and more important task, obviously for reasons like the fact that it's the bigger thing, but on top of it, because at this point, Kurt Busch has nothing else to win except championships. He's got a Daytona 500. He already has a championship. He has tons of race wins, so why not just go for a championship, go for broke for it? That's really what I'm looking at here. And there's really no point of coming back if he can't go and try and win a championship. There also is a capable driver in the 45 right now. Ty Gibbs has shown that he can hold his own in Cup, run about as well as Kurt Busch was when he was taken out by his injury, and it shows that the 45 team is in good hands. Kurt should not feel like he's pressured to live up to anyone's expectations and come back early if they have a driver there in general, but also if they have a driver there who can live up to the expectations of that team, who can drive it up to the front, and who can look competent and good for the sponsors as well. Kurt Busch has no reason to come back and should not feel pressured to come back right now. And it gives him more time to properly heal and not risk re-injury. Why come back around, say, Kansas and then have to suffer a concussion or hard crashes at Bristol or Talladega or the Roval? That's just not a risk that he should have to take. Take the extra months of the rest of the season and the off season to get ready for 2023, when, if he is still the good driver that he's always been, he can come back rejuvenated and ready to fight for that second championship. And then the third major reason that he shouldn't come back, he should just sit out the rest of the year, is Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs' development is more important in the big picture for everyone involved than Kurt Busch coming back this year. Ty is, for the Toyota, probably going to be the franchise guy in 5 years. He's probably going to come up to Cup next year. And with that, he's going to need as much experience possible. He's going to need as much of a head start on his rookie season as possible. And Ty Gibbs is just, in general, for Toyota, more needed than Kurt Busch at the moment. Gibbs needs to be as comfortable as he can be going into his rookie season so that by the middle or end of that season, he's competing for wins. He's competing for a playoff spot. He's competing for a championship, living up to the sponsors' names, and in general, just getting Toyota's program into its next era, especially since it looks like he'll probably be in the 18 next year. Kurt Busch can always come back to the 45 next year, but Ty Gibbs cannot get this experience back for next year. Overall, this might just be the end of Kurt Busch's career. It sucks to say that. I don't want to say that, but it is something that's really true. It's eerily similar and reminiscent to the story of Dale Jr.'s 2016, when he came back the next year but was a shell of his former self, and that very well may happen here. I hope it doesn't, though. But with that, I'm going to pass it on to you. What are your reactions to Kurt Busch being out of the playoffs and possibly the rest of the season? Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. And to all my channel members, thank you so much for your support. So until next time, have a good one.